Well, hello and good morning, YouTube. Petey Two Finger back with my Cort 45 travel guitar advertisement. When I was a kid in the 70s, there was this Schlitz malt liquor bull, and they had a malt liquor called Colt 45. So when I think Cort 45, I think Colt 45 and the Schlitz malt liquor bull. Is this the best travel guitar I ever played, or is it some bull? Fill in the blank. So Hippie Biker 33.99. Hey, how the heck are you, Hippie Biker? He commented 6 hours ago. He was up a little earlier than I was. Don't know if you're still around and have this guitar after 10 years. Well, I do. I played it yesterday. But I have an Austin Hatchet version. So the Austin Hatchet is, we'll take a look at that. Austin Hatchet. Let's see what comes up. It's a slightly less appointed. And notably the headstock and the Austin Hatchets were more popular than the Cort 45. Like, the headstock is different than the Cort 45. If you look back at mine, headstock is, I gotta say, the headstock is cooler on the Cort 45. No offense to Hippie Biker 33.99. So he's got the Austin Hatchet version. I just picked it up and I love it. Still trying to get the specs on it. Not much information out there on it, but it's a keeper and will be a forever part of my arsenal of guitars. Well, Hippie Biker, I agree with you. It is a keeper and it will also forever be a part of my arsenal of guitars. So if you haven't seen the original video, you can pop over and check that out. In this video, I'm just going to be
the year of the Univibe.
I'm going to be snooping around. I typed in Cort 45 specs and it brought me to this page here. I gotta say, my Cort 45, it isn't my favorite guitar because I have a Fernandez Sustainer that I fell in love with. I really love the Sustainer guitar that has a Floyd on it and that locking system. I really love that Super Strat thing. I've got a Steinberger Spirit that I really love. But this, as far as playing around the house, when I want to grab a guitar to test a guitar pedal or an amplifier that I've built, if I'm going to be writing music, I grab for my Cort 45. It has a brass nut. I replaced the stock tuners with locking tuners because the tuners on mine were banged up. I've polished this piece and painted the inlay countless times. It's got a brass bridge and brass plated saddles. Plastic hardware in here. Mine has the original knobs have been removed, and I've got black speed knobs on it, and it is been rewired a little bit, but the switches are original and the jack is original. I also have a custom plate that'll flip out here and lock into place to give you more of a 2-point anchor system to set it down so it doesn't. That was the main thing that I did not like about the Cort 45. If you set it down, it wanted to take a dive to the left. It always wanted to fall over. And I have this on this screw here, or it might be this one. I have a plate. I forget how it works, but it when you flip this plate around, it comes down to about here. And it creates a level, a 2-point system. So you can see here it's what they call a hippie sandwich. And what that means, there was a company called Alembic, and they used to make these guitars with different colors of wood, which looks like a sandwich. Now, Alembic Company was associated with the Grateful Dead. They were out on the West Coast. They worked closely with those guys. They were building the basses that had the first active preamps in them. So the Alembic basses had a 9-volt battery, and they were line level out. And that's what... now I can't think of the name of the bass player for the Grateful Dead, but that's what he was using. And they developed some sound stuff. I think they were building speaker cabinets for the Grateful Dead. That Wall of Sound may have been them, but it's a fantastic, really well put together, I believe, Japanese guitar. My original pickups, and I remember when I got mine, it had this clip strap. And I got rid of that right away. I did not like that. Gee, I wish I still knew where it was. I probably have this. It's probably in my storage. I wouldn't have thrown it out. But it's got this brass thing here, and if you take this apart, you can... there's a pin inside here that you can slide out, and then you can reassemble this, and you can screw in your own. I have strap locks on mine, is what I have, and mine has the original cavity cover, and my ferrules, or what are those things called? They're like 3 and 3. There's like a slightly bigger gap in between. It looks like maybe the guy did 3 from one angle and flipped it around and did the other 3, you know. But they're actually they're really pretty straight on mine. Yeah, brass nut. Like I said, I'm absolutely in love with my Cort 45 guitar. So here's some information for Hippie 3399, was it? And again, dude, thank you for commenting. I'm sorry to make this video so long. I'm just staring at pictures of it with 45 seconds of silence. If you're not familiar with my channel, I come on here and I complain a lot. I'm also missing the tops of my index fingers, okay, and my pinky's okay, but I only have 2 fingers to fret. So I make interesting music, and I record an album every year. We also upload live video of me performing in the Duo, which is the band with my wife, where we write all original music. And there's all kinds of, if you'd like to see me play, you can type in remote jam, and all kinds of videos will come up of us playing through the battery operated equipment that we've built, because I built pedals, amps, and a PA system that we built. So that's pretty much what I do here at this channel. Anyway, only made for 2 years in the mid-1980s, Cort 45, also sold in a less appointed version called the Austin Hatchet, is the ultimate travel or head turner grab-and-go guitar for the local jam night. The only one I've ever seen in the flesh, and I've been buying guitars for 35 years. So yes, these are rare guitars. I purchased it to restore it, but alas, I have too many projects. I needed to give it to someone else a chance to finish it up. and knock 'em out when you show up with a totally unique and uber cool guitar. Features include a 24.75 scale, standard tuners, but on a body of only 34 inches long. Multi-ply neck through construction running the entire length of the body. Natural finish highlighting the zebra effect of laminations. And mine has a really nice finish on it. The finish on the one that they showed that's here is nothing compared to my finish. And the Austin hatchets that I've seen seem to have really nicer finishes on them too. Brass hardware including a brass nut and brass neck inlays, and mine has the brass neck inlays as well. Dual humbuckers, stock PAF type at the neck and DiMarzio type at the bridge. And that's exactly how mine came as well. Both of my pickups stopped working. Both of them failed. 2 volume pots, 1 tone pot, pickup selector, and mini phase switches. To pull up an article on the guitar by vintage guitar contributor Michael Wright, search the below turns. Even he had never seen the Cort 45 version. So let's see if we can find this. This particular guitar is in good condition. 3 notches in the body above the neck pickup. Edge ding at the output jack. Frets have minimal wear. That's the thing on mine. My frets are pretty worn out. Fretboard is good. Fingerboard is good, excuse me. Bridge has worn finish and pitting. See, mine is not pitting. Being sold as is. And this piece of gear has been sold. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, they don't have it. Good luck finding one of these puppies. So let's see. Here we go. Here's an Austin hatchet. So yeah, let's take a look at these pictures of the hatchet. Oh my goodness, he's got the original case. Look at that. And this super cool, it's got the that is so cool. That is so cool. I gotta say, that is even cooler than the Cort 45 with the hatchet on there. That is so cool. And me being missing the finger tops from the lawnmower accident, the Austin hatchet. That is super cool. If I ever ran into one of these, I would probably faint. I'm known to faux hyperventilate when I see really cool stuff at the resale store. So let's go back and see this article. Look at that. What a cool guitar, huh, guys? As a rule, I've never been enamored with pop music. If you define pop as largely vocal-oriented music with catchy melodies and easy-to-remember lyrics. Almost always love themes. So ordinarily a pop band like the Police would be off my radar. Still, Andy Summers was able to weave some pretty interesting guitar textures. Yes, he was, without the traditional flash solos. If you listen to some of that stuff that Andy Summers did, that song "Do Do Do Da Da Da," he's using a delay in there, and he's doing this like finger picking thing. And I mean, a lot of their stuff had really, like what this guy said, interesting guitar textures, and it's not easy to play stuff. Andy Summers was a really unique and highly skilled guitar player. Really unoriginal, you know. Without traditional solos, behind Sting's singing. See, Sting always got on my nerves. So I paid attention. Besides, it was Andy Summers who almost single-handedly created a market for minimalist guitars like this. Summers famously played a headless Steinberger guitar, which is probably the best-known minimalist, wow, that's a big word, isn't it? Guitar among guitar fanatics, but it certainly wasn't the first. I suppose the earliest in the category were the first successful electric guitars, the first Hawaiian lap steel guitars. Legendary Ropat in electro frying pan. Yeah, that's correct, if you've ever seen the frying pan. Got a body, neck, and a head. It looks like something you could fry up a can of beans. Or maybe a couple of eggs. Most electric laps had these elements, but by the 1940s they were pretty perfunctory. How many lap steels are basically a slab of wood with some pickups, a fingerboard, and some tuners, reducing a guitar to its bare minimum. Vintage 1985 Austin Hatchet electric guitar. And I should say, mine, I've messed with this guitar more than I ever messed with any other guitar. The story with mine is my younger brother, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. I live 15 miles west of the Loop. My little brother left here and went to Kankakee, which is straight south from me, about an hour and a half drive if you're doing 70 miles an hour. Hour and 15 minutes, I should say. So he's south, and there's a university down there where the Chicago Bears used to do their spring training. It's called Olivet Nazarene University. My little brother went to that school, met his wife. He got married. They have a family, and he is an associate pastor. He's a hockey nut, and he has a hockey camp through the church. His son was in the Deaf Olympics. They went to Italy, and they beat Russia and Finland and all these other places where I think the only thing that there is to do is play hockey. So he's really into hockey. He's an associate pastor. He incorporates the hockey thing into his job being a youth pastor in southern Illinois town of Kankakee. Now, one of the things that he'll do, he actually, that school, Olivet, he's the college has a hockey team now. They just started this year, and he cooked it up. It was all his scheming. He approached the school. They went for it, and now they have a college hockey team. And he is the coach. And my nephew, Anders Lindgren, he is on that team. He's a star hockey player, you know. So my little brother Bjorn will go and garbage pick when the kids leave. They will, at the end of the school year, they leave all kinds of stuff, computers, TVs, clothes. He collects all of that stuff. He's got a huge tin building next to his place where he lives out there. He stores this stuff, and then they have a garage sale with it in the middle of the summer, and he takes that money, and that's how he runs this hockey camp. So it's a lot of work for him running around. I mean, he's kind of lives a crazy life where he keeps himself busy. And that's part of it, is this garbage picking thing he does at the school. And like, I know when the Bears left, he said that some of those Bear guys left some really expensive stuff. So it's not necessarily digging through banana peels as it is like just grabbing laptops and stuff like that. So more often than not, he'll have a collection of stuff for me on my birthday or Christmas. He'll give me a bunch of junk that he's collected. And one year, many years ago, when he attended that school, when he started his garbage picking routine, is when I received my Cort 45 for Christmas. And I could not believe it because it is such a cool guitar. Like I said, it's one of the favorites in my collection. So I'm not sure who gets credit for being the first minimalist Spanish guitar. Pretty much had to be an electric guitar, since acoustics depend on having an acoustic chamber to produce their sound. In 1967, Dave Helland, then a music teacher in Green Bay, Wisconsin, got the idea that an electric guitar needed to be nothing more than a 2x4 with a neck. He and a couple dozen legendary LeBay guitars built. Around the same time, Dave Bunker, we got to look this up, LeBay guitar. See if we can see any. Man, is that cool. It's got a Bigsby on it. Those P90s. Oh, that thing is sweet. That's like an acid trip Bo Diddley guitar right there. Man, I never heard of these. La Bay, Green Bay, Wisconsin, huh? Dan Helland. So we're learning all kinds. Oh man, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look that. See, that's the tremolo that I would want. I wouldn't want the Bigsby. I would want that. That thing is. That just screams 60s. And look at the it's sunburst. It's just a little strip in the middle of it. So yeah, I'll have to come back and read this. Stereo electric guitars. Man, that is so cool. So getting back to our reading, Dave Bunker, guitar player and luthier, came up with his Astral guitar designs. They look like a cross between a Star Trek spaceship and a guitar. Many of the other parts were screwed into the minimalist core, so you had to customize the way it looked when you performed. So let's Dave Bunker, Astral guitar. Let's just do an image search. Wow, he was tripping balls, huh? Look at this guy. Looks like Buddy Holly dropped his glasses. Oh, man. Jeez, this guy was ahead of his time, huh? Touch guitars? Damn. Damn, that is so cool. Is he standing in front of a theremin with his coffee on it? He sure as fuck is. Dave Bunker. What a nutter, huh? Sheesh. The invader from Planet Geek. And he's got his honeys out modeling them. What's going on with that? Bunker guitars and basses. It looks like no other guitar because it is like no other guitar. Bunker Hellbender. Man, is that a cool looking guitar, huh? It's got this aluminum plate. See, that provides hum cancellation, you know. This is his personal guitar. Looks like there's a Wikipedia article about this. How come none of this stuff is clickable? Is this one of those Pinterest or something? Oh. And what are these things? Are these sustainers? Yeah, forgive me for the length of this video. Like I said, I haven't had my coffee yet, and so yeah, if you'd like to learn more about this stuff, Dave Bunker and his touch guitars, I want to try to get back to finishing this one off. Neither LeBay, and you know what? I've been here before, but I did not fully read this or give it the treatment that I did now. I just skimmed it. I just looked at these pictures and read a little bit of it. Oh my goodness, there's a whole ton of comments. Neither LeBay or Astro guitars were particularly successful, so you'll be lucky to ever play one. The ultimate in minimalist guitars were probably the so-called fishbone jobs built by Alan Gittler in New York in the mid-70s. And if you've never seen one of those, they are really cool. They're made out of aluminum. And those were New York mid-70s, so lots of gay sex and heroin. These reduced the guitar to a tubular spine and a tubular frets. Indeed, Andy Summers played one of these for his Synchronicity videos. Only 60 of these were made before Gittler moved to Israel, where he became Avraham Bar Rashi and contracted out another 240 or so of a slightly more substantial version, still remarkably minimalist. Man, that is such a cool. Your brass plate is really cool. With the hatchet on there, I forgot about that. That is so cool. I don't know about that tacky 8 that somebody. Do they all come with that? I don't think so. Well, maybe they do. You have to let me know, Hip. Does yours have the A on it? So, around the time that Gittler were building his fishbones, Ned Steinberger came up with his small body headless designs, which was produced by Stuart Spector. These went on to become the most famous of the minimalists, thanks in large part to the Police. Steinbergers were, however, expensive. To help fill the void, Cort licensed and designed the product began cheaper versions, bearing the Cort name as well as others, including models for Hofner and Washburn. I have one called Blake that used to be my Shore guitar. In 1981, Kramer threw its hat in the ring with its aluminum-necked, headless Duke guitar. Oh my goodness. An aluminum neck Duke Kramer. Oh, see, that's the thing though. This design where the strings angle out and you got the tuners down here, I get that really does make sense, and that's the way that you kind of have to do it if you're going to use standard tuners and you're going to put them down here. I'm sure these are some kind of rollers or something here. But just this break angle here, I just don't like that. I just don't like it. And honestly, the thing about my Cort 45 that I don't like is the fact that there's no tremolo. Like ultimately, if I knew somebody and I had unlimited fundage, well, I do know a guy. I do have a guy. Shout out to Tully's shop in Chicago. Tully, he used to be he was the guy who set up Dimebag Darrell's guitars, and he was the QC guy and the product specialist for Washburn. When Washburn was here in Chicago, that was his job. And he went to that luthier school in Arizona. Anyway, if I had unlimited funds, I would have my Cort 45 cloned. I would have another one built, and I would have it fitted out with a tremolo system and a sustainiac. Probably, honestly, the thing I would do is just have someone install a sustainer system in my Steinberger Spirit, because I have a yellow Steinberger Spirit that I absolutely love. And typically with those guitars, what I'll do is put a 9.6 volt nickel metal hydride battery in the strap, and then I wire the sustainer power supply goes right to this. You bore another hole in the guitar for a 2.1 millimeter DC port, like a Boss pedal power jack. You have one of those on your guitar, and it's kind of near where the 1/4 inch output is. So then you have your battery has a fuse. It lives in the strap. I use a stretch strap. And there's a spot in the stretch strap where the nylon weaving folds around, and that's about the same size as this 9.6 volt battery. So you can put it in there and then wrap Velcro ties around it to hold it from sliding out. And the wire just runs down, and I use a 90 plug, which will have to be replaced every couple of years or so. That wire ends up cracking. That's the bummer about it, is you need to have another battery with the fuse with the cable ready to go in your case. So when that thing fails, you can go, hold on a minute, we got a technical problem, and you pop it out. Because it'll never break when you're home alone. It only breaks when you're performing in front of an audience. So none of the guitars mentioned so far were travel guitars, strictly speaking. It was nice that you could pop a minimalist guitar into the overhead compartment or top of all your vacation luggage. There were travel guitars in the game at that time, including the little yellow Honda Chiquita Banana. And my understanding is that the Chiquita is a decent guitar. Didn't Eddie Van Halen play one of those? They were only minimalist in the same sense as the early lap steels, that they were small. In any case, it was environment in 1984 when Jack Westheimer of Cort got the idea to come up with his own cross between a minimalist and a travel guitar and designed this guitar. Actually, Westheimer's inspiration was less of the Steinberger, the Duke, or the Chiquita, and more of the Colt 45 handgun. Young Park tweaked Jack's design, and in 1985, the Cort 45 debuted. Jack used to laugh that he was the only one that ever connected the name or the shape of the guitar with the pistol. Obviously, being a big I didn't. As soon as I saw it, I said, that looks like a gun. That was exactly what I said. And that's my little brother said, I know. And he insisted that he was going to take it back to school, because he had got it at the end of the year when he came back home for the summer. And he showed me, and I was like, you have to give me this guitar. And I wasn't really on very good terms with my younger brother back then. He kind of hated my guts. And I said, if you take that guitar to school and show your buddies that play guitar, I'm never going to see it again. And he was, no, I'll get it to you. So then that year at Christmas, I came down to the present opening thing, and there it was, wrapped up in paper. And I said, I know what I'm opening first. And I opened that, and I took off into the garage with it and started immediately tightening stuff and setting it up, putting a new set of strings on it, you know. So he was the only one that saw the shape of the guitar as a pistol, except for me and my younger brother. Obviously, the big distributor Targ and Dinner didn't, because they called their first version the Austin Hatchet, seen here. So if you like playing minimalist guitars, it isn't too bad. The neck-through construction gives a solid feel. Powered by a pair of Korean power sound humbuckers that are actually pretty darn hot. One of the mini toggles is a 3-way while the other reverses phasing. The headstock and tuners do make it top heavy since there's not much to act, and the body is a counterweight. Now, I got some really high quality Spurzl locking tuners that are made out of like aircraft aluminum. They're like argent, and I think they're made out of aircraft aluminum. They're really light, and they're argent, so that's like an off gray. It's not. It's like it's not real shiny. It's more of a matte finish, you know. And I absolutely love those tuners on this guitar. I absolutely love those tuners on the Cort 45. So if you do have to replace them, you can get these Spurzls, and I think I put mine on upside down. If you see it from behind, you know what I'm talking about. But I've never seen a Cort 45, only a couple Austin Hatchets. That's no evidence, but I don't think these were too popular. And I gotta say, no one that I know has ever heard of it. Every luthier or guitar guy that I've ever talked to, I always bring this up. No one has ever heard of it. They seem to have been gone by 1986, while other minimalist guitars like the Steinberger soldiered on. Even they started getting bigger bodies. The craze for minimalist guitars had pretty much run its course, which describes the Police, who broke up the same year. So yeah, there's all kinds of interesting stuff in the comments. See, mine doesn't really have that neck dive so much. I mean, I use a Levi's stretch strap, a number 1, like the not the one that Buckethead uses, because they stopped making those. But you can get this Levi's stretch strap, and I put a automotive seat belt cushion. There's this Velcro pad that you put over the Levi's stretch strap will dig into the side of my neck. So I've got that, and that's enough grip and stuff to keep the neck dive from being a real issue with me. And the main thing that I really loved about my Cort 4, well, I don't want to say the main thing, something that you wouldn't think of right off the top of your head is, and you know what, I think at this point, rather than just have a white screen, I'm going to put my shirt on because I've been sitting here. I just woke up. Honey, could you make me a cup of coffee, and then after that bring me some cereal? And again, I apologize for the candidness of this video, but I'm about to switch over here. Oh, hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. My cat's here. So, here's the tuners, how I put them on wrong. Mine still has this number. It says WO20 and then nothing. Here's something for the original strap, I believe. And you can see that like what I'll do is when I restring it, I'll take the screws out of this plate and steel wool it. And same thing with the brass hardware here. It shines up really nice with the steel wool. Now my saddles they're not brass. They had some brass type plating on them, and that's all kind of gone-ish. But I had a BMW. My dad worked for BMW as a regional manager for the entire Midwest for the parts departments, and he had the Motorsport BMW badge. It's a real cool looking badge. It's a little different than the normal one, and I had that. I don't know where that Motorsport badge is. I know I have it, but I had various BMW logos that I would put in here. I would just tape them in there.
What do I have on mine?
That's a regular BMW badge. That's on my wife's. My wife has a headless bass that she plays, a Riverhead Unicorn, which is a super rare headless guitar. Now, and you know that I got that Riverhead Unicorn when I was 17. It was just a coincidence. They had it at this place, John's Hidden Music, and it was like $399 or $350 on sale, and I bought it with my Christmas money. And it's a beautiful instrument. Like that thing has lasted. It's a fine instrument, and so that kind of got me in with this minimalist thinking. And then in 2007, I herniated L5, L4. I screwed my back up really bad. So I have horrific back pain. It's constant, never goes away. I'm on all kinds of pain meds for it. So the long and short of it is, it's tough for me to play a Strat. It hurts more. I mean, like, I don't use this because it's like this is like my most, like if I had a gold top it would be this, because I'm a budget guy. This is like, I don't want it to leave the house because I love it so much. I just cherish and love, like the neck feel on this, the fret feel. Oh, it's a little bit of a chunky neck, but I got used to it, and I just absolutely love this guitar. I've written probably, I want to say, 350 songs on this. I've written over 500 pieces of music in my life, and a good portion of them was written on this. Now, this is the guitar that I've played around with the most, attempting setups. And I took it into Tully, that guy who was the Washburn guy. Tully's shop. I'm in Chicago. And I took this in and my Ibanez 350 DX Shark Tooth. And he set both of these guitars, or no, it was, excuse me. It was my bootlegger Spade. If you could look that up, it's a lot like a Cort 45 bootlegger Spade. But I had him set this up, and the thing that I'm getting at is this guitar, the intonation, it never played in tune. It was always off, and I kept messing with it. I could never get it right until I took it into that guy, and now it plays perfectly in tune. So if you're having a problem, if that thing doesn't really play in tune, I would twist your arm to just spend the money and take it in and have them fix the intonation for you. you know. It's worth it. It's worth it to have it play in tune. So that's one of the things that I realize is there's some things that I can't do here. I can pretend that I can, and it seems like I go through the process of doing the intonation, and it seems like I can do it, but then when I'm done, it doesn't all line up. So I can pretend all I want, and there's a lot of people out there that fool themselves like that. I did it. Yeah, pat themselves on the back, and then it doesn't sound good, you know. So anyway, that was the thing about the Cort 45 was I had it for all these years and it didn't play right. I took it in and it played right. And I'm like, what an asshole I was. All it took was for me taking it in that one time. And if I wouldn't have messed with it, probably would have been okay, you know. But I can't tell you the amount of string. I've had flat wounds on that thing. And they were great. The flat wounds were great on there. So, a few years ago, I do a real lot of resale shopping with my old lady. And there was a while there during COVID, when COVID happened, my wife had an office job with a huge corporation, and they just let everybody go when COVID happened. She was one of their like star workers, and so it was. Anyway, she ended up working at Goodwill, and that only lasted about as long as the lockdown lasted, because it's not really that good of a job for her. So she's got a much better. She's not on her feet. She's much happier where she is now. But my point was, we used to go a lot to the Goodwill, and we found a Korg Poly 800, which it's a weird synth. It's like pretty much like a full size keyboard. It's not a mini, and but it's not a 88 key, but it's a big one, and it's analog. The sound part of it is analog, but it's got a digital display. There's like an 8 like LED display. So you got 99 presets. So you can program the thing like an analog synth. You program it though. And then you can save the presets. Now, it came with a cassette where you would blast the sound set into it, and batteries, and the internal battery had died, so it had no sounds on it. So I took it apart, I cleaned it, I fixed some stuff that was wrong with it, I replaced the battery, I got the digital file of the cassette and blasted it, made a little 1/8" cable, and plugged that into the synth, and then blasted this data in. And you fool the synthesizer into thinking that your computer is a tape deck. You send the audio over from your computer, and the audio is zeros and ones. And then that sets up the preset 99 sounds. So I did that process, and it worked, and I put it up on the Craigslist, and like that, sold it. I sold it for $250. So at that time, the Steinberger Spirit was $350. So it was another $100 out of pocket, and I got myself a yellow Spirit. And you'll see me playing that on this channel. Now, I did replace the pickups on that, and you know, there's always another $150 you throw at a guitar from strap locks and nice strap, and you know, whatever knobs, locking knobs, or what crap that you order, you know, that stuff, strings. But I really fell in love with that Steinberger Spirit. So if you develop a relationship with this Cort 45, if you like that idea, get a Spirit. they're freaking awesome. Just get one from a place that you can return it without a hassle, because they're QC. For some reason, they'll be a bad one. You know, like for every 12 of them that come off the line, 11 of them are good. But you'll know right away. It won't stay in tune, and it'll have problems with the whammy bar. Now, my story is I was playing bass in a cover band. You know, we had backup singers and everything. It was like 2 guitar players. We had a PA, a significant PA. So I was in a real lot of bands. I was in over 30 bands. And when I quit, that was about a year into our marriage. We had a problem with drummers, and our lead guitar player was a cocaine fiend. He had a crack addiction, and I just got sick of the bullshit. You know, there was so much partying going on, and at that time it was like kind of early mid '90s, and that home recording thing was exploding because of MIDI. So they were selling sound cards that had built-in synth modules on them, and they had SMPTE, which is where you can synchronize a tape machine to a computer. So you can do all MIDI stuff with the synthesizer and the drums, and that will line up. It'll synchronize with a tape machine. So that's what I got into. I have about 15 albums that I've recorded, quote unquote. You know, it's a CD worth of original music. And this guitar, when you're wearing this, if you've got a Strat or a Les Paul and you're working with a mouse, when you're wearing the guitar, there's that upper body of the guitar that really kind of gets in the way. That's not the case with the Cort 45. The Cort 45, it serves as like an armrest, and you can mouse. So that's the hidden feature in the Cort 45, that the guy who designed this was way ahead of his time. If you're working in a studio and this is an unbelievable studio tool, especially if you're doing high gain stuff, because I'm from the school that I believe the tone wood does kind of matter. The body of the guitar does matter a little bit. I know they've supposedly proven that that's not true. But what I'm getting at is that if you're doing high gain, it doesn't matter if you're using this guitar, because for that type of thing, all you really need is some pickups and some strings. And this thing, that's the thing. It gets a little munged up from me leaning my arm. Not all my guitars. There's that area where your arm comes through there, and it'll get just kind of sticky in there from sweat and all the dust. So yeah, that's my specs. My specs video. Tell you my whole entire life story. I would encourage you to, I'm sure you already do love that guitar. I'm sure you've cleaned it up and polished it, put new strings on it, and you're having your honeymoon phase with it. There's footage of me. You can type in on my channel, type in island, the word island, and you'll see me and my like 4 or 5-year-old daughter. She's singing on a karaoke mic. We're on a tiny island that's about the size of a driveway. We're on an island in the middle of a river, and I'm playing like sideways sounding Adrian Belew kind of crunk guitar, and she's singing about the island that we found, and that we're jamming on it. We've got a little pedal boat that where we pulled up with the gear on it, unloaded the gear, and we got a little stage. It's like a pallet with some white shag carpet over it. So yeah, I then there's the igloo. There's a video of me inside of an igloo playing this guitar and all ice behind me. So I've taken this around a little bit. At the point when I realized how rare they were, you can't find them anymore. And when I got the Steinberger has the tremolo system, and like I was telling you, I reached under the lawnmower when I was a little kid, and I'm missing the tops, natural tops of these two fingers. You can see they're shorter, You can see that. So and they're kind of too wide to work. They nub out the other strings. So I play my guitar with my pinky and my index finger only. I don't use these fingers to fret at all. And my middle name is Peter. That's why I call myself Petey Two Finger. I did not give myself the Two Finger nickname. That was Brad Hoff. That was the cocaine guy. Nicknamed me Two Finger in like 1994. He nicknamed me that. So the tremolo arm is part. Anything else besides this that I can use, pedals, alternate tunings, tremolo arm. So I really that's the thing, that guitar doesn't have a tremolo. And the neck on the Steinberger, the Steinberger is a better guitar. It stays in tune better. It's a better design. It's lighter. It doesn't have the neck dive that this has. Because I'm saying, oh, mine doesn't have it. It does. It's just not as bad as what other people were talking about, or the way that I use this grabby strap. Like I was telling you, I've got this stretch strap, and then there's this pad on it, and I've got a safety pin that keeps it in place. But so it's always right in here where it's going to bite my neck. But the way that I'll put this part of it, the butt, on my right leg. That's kind of the way that I like it. Yeah, I love this thing. And it's really cool that you found one. I'm going to let you go. I hope I didn't bore the pants off of you. You should subscribe. That's where all this is going. I make personal hour-long videos, and then for people that comment, and then force them to subscribe. All right, you guys. Nobody's watching this. An hour? All right. I'm talking to myself here. Anyway, what I usually say is hug your pets. Where's Kita? Hi, buddy. Hi. Would you like a treat? I've got to bribe him if I want a hug. All right. Take care and peace. Enjoy your Sunday.
It's Saturday.
Oh, she had the day off yesterday. Enjoy your Saturday.